Hello, everyone. I hope you were having a lovely day, and welcome back to Grateful April, the event where we get to take a moment to reflect on our artist journeys and practice a bit of gratitude. Today is day 14, Wisdom. Write down a quote you wish to follow. You can maybe practice your calligraphy skills or just share it online. I'd like to. This is one of those entries where I was really hoping that it could just be something quick. You don't even have to spend a half an hour on this. You could just be really just write it down, share it, boom. There you go. um, yeah, this actually was really tough for me because I hoard quotes so much. I love finding inspirational quotes online. It's just been one of those things since even my early teens, I think. Oh gosh, it feels old when I say that. Really, it's like maybe 10 years ago. Yeah. Um, yeah, so I decided to narrow it down purely based on length, and yeah, I wanted to try and find something that I would like to hang on my wall too. It's like, what, we could decorate with this. It's kind of fun. So, I decided to pick a quote from Erich Fromm, the psychologist and philosopher. And this quote, it's upside down and right now. I decided to film this upside down because my camera setup, it is upside down. But if I were to flip it right side up in my video editing software, the whole text would just be flipped and it just wouldn't look good. So I do eventually turn it right side up so you can see, but for now, I'll just read it. Um, he says, creativity requires the courage to let go of certainties. Um, Again, I love hoarding the quotes. So like this came really close to one by Theodore Roosevelt, which was, "It is only through labor and painful effort, by grim energy and resolute courage, that we move on to better things." But I really like this one by Eric Fromm because it really is that specifically for me, I've found it's been difficult trying to really push myself to get out of my comfort zone because I know in order to get better, you have to, you got to keep pushing yourself and you got to get out of your comfort zone and you have to kind of like wade your way through this like this quagmire of certainty, and it gets really deep and intense, and I don't like the idea of it. But it's, as part of getting better and doing what you want ultimately as an artist, I feel like you have to, it's like almost a rite of passage. Like you have to do it and you have to get used to doing it on top of that. So yeah, I thought it really takes a lot of courage to do that, and especially when there are times when it will not work out. It's not like, "Oh, you will risk not working out." No, there's a pretty darn good chance, like 99.99, if not 100%, that you will fail. And it takes a whole lot of courage to get back out there even after you fail multiple times, and that's been something I've had to come to grips with more recently, and I'm still struggling with it, I have to admit, but I mean, we all gotta learn it, and it's nice to know that there are other people out there who understand this and have mentioned it before. So, yeah, that helps. All right, thanks again, guys, for your questions too. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave one in a comment below. I will get around to it sometime within this month for sure, unless I get like 100 questions, in which case, I'll see what I can do. But yeah, I'm not really counting on that happening unless someone wants to really troll me, but okay. All right. So today's question comes from PolygonCal, or I just call him Cal. He says, for no particular reason, what is your opinion on Ella Enchanted? So back oh, I would say as a kid, if you've gone to your library, at least in America, I don't know if this is particular to any region, but I grew up in the Midwest, and we would go to the library in the summertime, and they did this program where if you read 20 books, you would get a free book. and like you would borrow 20 books from the library, get a free book that you can keep. So I did that for a good few years, and one of the books I ended up picking because the movie had come out was Ella Enchanted. So it had the cover with Anne Hathaway on it, and some of the characters I didn't recognize who they were because I hadn't seen the movie. It was one of those movies where you kind of like it comes out and stuff, kind of like Prince Caspian with the Chronicles of Narnia. Also, even though I love the Chronicles of Narnia, I don't know why, just Prince Caspian just I don't know, just didn't end up watching it. So I read the book, and this is one of those cases where I read the book first, and because my sister was reading Harry Potter, so whenever I would go to watch the Harry Potter movies, I would talk to her afterward and be like, "Oh yeah, this was different," and and of course everyone proclaims the books are always better, which I mean it's understandable because you spend how many hours reading versus how many hours watching movie. Well, yeah, of course the book's gonna be better. You invest more time and there's a lot more detail, but it's inevitable. Anyway, so I read Ella Enchanted and I loved it. I loved it. It probably is one of the big reasons why I fell in love with fantasy in the first place. I love how the author just had this way of making the story so believable. I love that you had a main character who was a female who was smart. And it wasn't just so much, oh my gosh, feminism, yes. No, it was more like she was around my age and she wasn't interested really in the same things that many of my peers were interested in. Like we had more common interests. So that was cool, and yeah, like, she got out of situations by being smart and crafty, and basically, if you haven't heard what Ella Enchanted is, it's basically about this girl, Ella, who is gifted, let's put that in quotation marks, with this, um, gift of obedience. Basically, if someone gives her an order, she has to do it, and if she doesn't, she gets intense headaches and basically gets really, really sick, and the only way to not like in order the only way to relieve that is to actually do the task. So, um, that's crucial because I think what Cal is really asking here is what's my opinion on the movie. Um, I could get into a whole rant about it. He probably wants me to get into a whole rant about it. um, really, Cal, if you just want to talk on Discord, we can. That already did though, but basically, you know, I finally watched the movie like 15 years later or 10 years later, something like that, and I can't get into the movie at all. It pretty much the only similarities between the book and the movie is the names and that the curse itself is just this thing of obedience. But instead of being like what I just mentioned earlier with the book, how it gives you the headaches, like in the movie, it kind of like took over and broke all laws of physics too. Like, I can't even, I just, that didn't happen in the book. It was actually, and that was one of the things I liked about it too, where Ella would actually try to fight it. She would try so hard because she's like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to have a choice. But because she would get really sick, she eventually would have no choice. In the movie, she just kind of turned into like it was like you snap your finger, she turns into a robot and instantly does the task. Like there was no tension there. But yeah, I could list some reviews and stuff comparing them, but yeah, I think I think I've talked to you guys ears enough, off enough. Anyway, thanks for the question. Yeah, I didn't like the movie. Enough said. I didn't even watch the whole movie. But anyway, thank you guys again for watching. Thank you for your support, your comments, and questions. Um, yeah, please do share if you have a quote below, or if you just have a quote that you really want to live by or that you find really inspiring, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. I will add that maybe to the featuring. Like, I'll be like, hey, this person really likes this quote. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to feature people because it's like, do I just feature this artwork or if they're talking about stuff, do I just say that they said this? Yeah, I don't really know. I'm thinking of making a collage. That'd be kind of cool. I'm sorry, now I'm just like thinking aloud. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you tune in tomorrow for day 15. Until next time.